This is I Love Black People Radio on HUR Voices, Sirius XM, Channel 141. I Love Black People is more than a radio show. I Love Black People is a call from our ancestors to protect us from racial profiling all across the world. Go to iloveblackpeople.com and become a member today. Membership empowers you to live fearlessly and protect Black people globally from racism and xenophobia. Join us today and become a member of our global network with an online global green book with Black-owned and Black-friendly businesses to protect you and your community. Membership is free, and with you, we will become 10 million strong worldwide. I am because we are.
And welcome to another amazing episode of I Love Black People. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we're going to be talking about a great, amazing event that's about to happen September 22nd to the 23rd at historic, amazing Howard University. I just want to make sure that we get everybody on board what's happening. I'm actually going to be speaking at another conference coming up this weekend, the Blackout Conference in Charlotte. And shout out to Lamar Wilson and Bitcoin Zay and the team at Black Bitcoin Billionaires for all of the things they do to advance our community as pioneers and actually mentorship for me. So I'm just so thankful for all the activities that are happening in our community to solve real problems that we're facing. And we use innovation. As an engineer is my background. You know, the conversation is about innovation, it's about Blackness, and it's about literally being the solution and not the problem. That being said, I want to let you guys know that September 22nd to 23rd is our 5th anniversary of the Black Blockchain Summit. And it's going to be, again, at Howard University. We're literally going to be blessed this time to actually expand it and have everything back in person for most of the event. We'll be live streaming it for those who can't make it to DC. It'll be starting off on Thursday and then going until Friday. And then our big event Saturday in person will be, the event's going to be taking place mostly at the Interdisciplinary Research Building on Georgia Avenue, Northwest Washington, D.C. And then our big in-person panel sessions will be taking place at the Blackburn Center on the central campus of Howard University. And this year we're also including a career fair, and it'd be the first like global in-person as well as virtual career fair where we give many folks the opportunity to kind of see the behind the scenes of what this particular genre called blockchain. And again, when I say blockchain, there's so many different areas in these spaces that we hear buzzwords like DeFi, NFTs, Web3, Metaverse. We're going to be covering all those topics. So again, this is an opportunity, as we've done for now going on 5 years, of taking the issues that are facing our Black community and leveraging the brains of not just computer scientists and applied scientists like engineers, but we also bring social scientists, political scientists, and business people, where we literally have a great analysis of the problem on one side and some great technical solutions to those said problems on the other side. And since we have it at the campus of Howard University, one of the things that's important is making sure we have student involvement. So in all our activities, we have university students from really all over the world, and that's on the virtual space as well as in the on-campus space. And we're having these career fairs to give a lot of these students who are really super brilliant the context, an understanding of these different areas that they are interested in going into. And I will just say this as an engineering student, once upon a time myself, you study, but you really don't understand how the business worked. I worked in companies, aerospace companies like McDonnell Douglas or Boeing, and they make airplanes. But literally in engineering, if you're making airplanes, you're not really making the whole airplane. It's almost like working for a door company. Your job may be just the hinges. You don't know much about the knob, the locks, the frame. When we do a career fair, we're going to give an opportunity for the students to get an understanding of not just, the jobs, but also the opportunities. Because we're not here just for jobs. We're here to create industry, to be leaders in industry. So freelancers, folks who are looking for projects, tech projects, or even accountants, finance students. There's so many areas that this technology is going to create. And when I talk to people, I liken it to when the internet first came out. I started college back in 1987. So the internet, as we know it, hadn't proliferated. It didn't, it was really more about a little less than 10 years later that you really saw the online presence. But throughout that span of time, we didn't get a chance to have our community engage with that promise and opportunity, anticipating what this technology would be like, called the internet. Well, 5 years ago, when we started the Black Blockchain Summit, the whole purpose was to make sure that our community didn't get passed over, that literally the technology as it developed would be directed towards our community firsthand. So when you hear things like blockchain, we made sure that that information was being disseminated at the college level, the community level, at all the levels that we could possibly do it. And we started that off actually before the actual summit started with a tour. We actually did the first Bitcoin tour back in 2017, and we literally toured historically Black colleges and universities throughout homecoming, so that people, from all generations would be able to be exposed to the information from, the alum as the students, faculty, and staff that literally would be exposed to Bitcoin. We did that in 2017. And one of the things that we realized was a lot of energy was spent on the traveling component when we really wanted to make sure we got the information and content out to the people. So after that, we created the Black Blockchain Summit. And from there, we leveraged that, the event, to get people to focus as much of their attention on becoming aware of the technology and also the promise of the applications of. And I think that's such an important thing as we start talking about the different activities that we're going to have at the conference. And of course, I just mentioned, of course, the speakers, the career fair. We're also going to have, as VC venture capitalists come and talk about, startups and how to develop your startup, particularly in the blockchain space, but particularly in, anything in a high growth tech space, so that our people understand how that process works. We're going to be talking about intellectual property. As a community, we've seen so much. My last W-2, full-time job was at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And we know countless of our inventions and innovations have been stolen. Our intellectual property has been stolen, and they've erased us. So when we talk about blockchain or Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, Black people have been from day one. We have an expression, Satoshi is Black. And when we say that, the actual creator of Bitcoin is somebody who used a pseudonym. It actually wasn't their name. It was Satoshi Nakamoto. And no one's ever met Satoshi. They've not ever, some people even say it's a group of people. And what we say is Satoshi is Black. And we say it in a way that says, look, all these creations oftentimes they omit the actual original starting place, and we know everything has started as it relates to civilization with Black folks and in Africa. And what we talk about with this innovation called Bitcoin is that it's a Black woman, someone who was able to actually create something and build something that has now taken over the world in a way that's given us so much promise. We say it's a Black woman, and we say Satoshi is Black. So we're grateful for Bitcoin as a blockchain. And I'm purposely not giving all the details about Bitcoin and blockchain and how it works. We're going to have so many people teaching. We're going to have so many sessions on Bitcoin, blockchain, NFT, DeFi, Web3 101. Throughout the conference, we're going to be teaching. We're going to have folks literally who spend all their time making sure that our community is up to date with everything they need to know. So if you want to know the particular details of actually how each one of these aspects of this industry technology works, please come to the Black Blockchain Summit, September 22nd to 24th, and you will get you're full. Like, and again, no question is bad. All questions are relevant. I often hear people ask, is it late or early or to get involved? It is early. This technology is still super early. It really kicked off with the white paper, even though cryptography existed before then. And that's like 2009. So we're literally in a point where we're just a little bit better than 10 years in. And if you look at the internet a little bit, 10 years in, you still don't have an iPhone. You still don't have all the browsers that we have. You're really still talking about an area of time that's very small. So this is the time to get in. When I say get in, I think sometimes we get a misnomer where people talk about the financial or the speculative nature of this technology. And I think in some ways it's a gift and a curse. So literally, it's great that people are interested in this technology. Uh, again, being a technologist, wanting our community to be involved in things like artificial intelligence and virtual reality. What's interesting about the cryptocurrency and the blockchain space, because there is a financial incentive, as it were, I think it's great to see people interested. But we have to be mindful that just like in any other industry, there's no free lunch. There's no getting something for nothing. And if anyone is approaching you with opportunities that seem too good to be true, they are. And that's not just, I definitely get people bringing this up, and these are things that we'll be talking about at the summit, is that literally, making sure people are safe from scams. Now, with that being said, the internet itself is full of scams, full of people telling things that are just bold-faced lies, terrible, but that doesn't make the internet terrible. That just means that those people who would have done those same things in real life, in person, now are doing those same things online. That doesn't mean we need to abolish the internet. That just means that we need to use discernment, and that we need to make sure that as many people in our community are communicating and helping to educate and make people aware the difference between something that's helpful and versus something that's harmful. And this technology is not inherently helpful, and it's not inherently harmful. It literally is a tool. So again, in the very general side of it, as we talk about these technologies, there's no silver bullet that's going to actually, change everything for us. We're going to have to be that change. So when we're talking about this particular technology, I just want people to keep their mind open. If you're into a particular cryptocurrency, which is a particular blockchain protocol, all these words, protocol, cryptocurrency, we're going to be discussing how all those things are relevant to our community. And when we say that, we're very clear that it's the Black Blockchain Summit, but we have literally people from all walks of life that participate. Special shout out to some of our sponsors, Gemini from the Winklevoss twins, Tyler and Cameron, and they both, Winklevoss, are folks who've been very supportive of our conference since the day one. And again, we want to make sure that this year we have Galaxy Digital, and they're definitely a big player in the cryptocurrency blockchain space. So we literally leverage the total community in this industry we call blockchain, cryptocurrency, Web3, to leverage all those minds that literally help solve problems in the Black community. We don't say BIPOC, we don't say people of color. We're specifically focused on the 1.5 billion people of African descent. So we often say Black communities because, again, we're not monolithic, and we have a varied amount of experiences, but we definitely have dealt with a commonality of issues that we can now leverage some of these technologies to help resolve. And when we talk about those things, again, we talk about things like white supremacist ideology. We talk about colonialism, neo-colonialism, but these things are all connected, and we have made it this far, in spite of some of these horrific things that, again, are crimes against humanity. How do we leverage the new technologies to do the same thing? So again, in no way, when we start talking about the Black Blockchain Summit and these technologies, do we think that the tech itself is going to solve the problem. But the fact that we're able to use so much of this technology, we can now use it for good to help ourselves. Or as we've seen with like social media, it's great to be able to connect with people all over the world, but if we use that connection to hurt each other and call each other names, that's problematic. So again, if we're linking people, we can link people to do great things, collaborate, build, or we can use this collectiveness to destroy. So it's important that we come up with ways that we leverage this technology ourselves. We have agency where we decide what we will do and how we will do it. And that's worthy of discussion. I try to stay away from the word debate because oftentimes that word has been misused and people end up name calling and it gets kind of crazy. But we can agree to disagree, but we can have substantive conversations that when we come into the conversation, maybe with one idea, we actually leave with multiple ideas. And the Black Blockchain Summit is a space, a safe space where we all can participate in, talk about the problems that we're facing as communities, as well as talk about the solutions. And I think that's sometimes missing, where we actually over-index in the analysis to the point we never talk about the solutions. And we stand on the shoulders of giants that built this civilization, that have gone through much hardship in spite of all our contributions to creating humanity. And we've never surrendered, we've never given up. And that's the thing we must continue to do. In the area of technologies, which is what I'm in, as well as and I need to give a shout out to my co-founder here, John Karanja, who's based in Nairobi, Kenya. We truly do have a Pan-African outlook, and we both are engineers, and it's important that we talk about how we, with our particular perspective, can leverage that technology to help create the solutions that can solve the problems that have been pressing our people in so many different ways globally. So again, I think it's important as you look at these words, and may non-fungible tokens, like what does that mean? It's not as hard as you think. And one of our topics is not rocket science. I tell people, I remember when we were back in the internet days, and people were learning how to get on the internet. People would say, well, do you know Windows? And you're like, do you know Windows? They made it seem so like crazy. But all that was do you know how to click on an icon with a mouse and open something up? Yes. But sometimes people purposely make things seem difficult so they can somehow aggrandize or empower themselves at the expense of the collective. What we try to do with the Black Blockchain Summit is to lay all these things plain. And you make the call. You decide, is this something for you, or is this something that you can take a pass on? But we're not going to have a situation where you weren't made aware of it. You didn't have the opportunity to hear it and bring it, and it be brought to you in a way that literally is relevant. And that oftentimes is a problem in academia, is taking the information that you learn and make it applicable. Things like when you're in school and you're in math class and they're talking about, trigonometry or calculus or geometry. You're not sure how that relates to you. And of course, they have word problems that can help you kind of see how it correlates. But so much of this math, so much of this science does apply. And we have to be the ones in applied science as an engineer, show how this applies. And one of the things we're doing this year that's new is we're going to have a essay contest, where in this essay contest, we're asking middle school up to high school students to actually share their thoughts about how we can use these technology to solve real problems. And our theme this year for the Black Blockchain Summit is very relevant to the issues that we see today. And the theme is peaceful solutions to violent world problems. So, as a part of our essay contest, we'll be having middle school, high school students coming up with solutions to those um, uh, problems and their thoughts on it. And we're going to be selecting and actually identifying the winners. And this is something that we're going to do in honor of a professor that did so much at Howard University, Dr. Gary L. Harris. He passed away during the COVID. And so we didn't really get a chance to be there. And uh, as well as I know, that so many of our friends and loved ones passed away during COVID, and we never got a chance to touch and reach out and to come together because of the restrictions and because of the consequences of the circulation of the virus. And we want to make sure that we give a proper tribute to Dr. Gary L. Harris. And we think this essay contest will go a long way to keeping his legacy of outreach to our community alive. And I think that's one of the things that's even hard in this particular arena of technology. With the historically Black colleges, there's still very few of those universities that have engineering programs. And even the ones that do have engineering programs, very few of them have Black Americans, African Americans as their leadership. And Howard, for such a long time, has been able to have that in people like Dr. Gary L. Harris, Dr. Lucius Walker, who brought me to Howard University, Dr. Todd Shern, who is the person who we work with from the computer science department, who's literally brilliant genius, who's given a life. And all these brothers and sisters that we see have given a lifetime to making sure that we have excellent education for our community. And I think sometimes, as we talk about the conference and all the things that we're doing and in our lives, we don't, pay tribute as we should to those folks that gave us that inspiration, that validation that we can take control and actually have agency in our lives through technology. So literally on that Friday of the conference, we're going to have a reception for Dr. Gary L. Harris. And that way, any of the folks that have been touched by him in the community, he used to go out and do judge science fairs in the local community to identify, almost like scouting, like just like they do in sports where they scout great athletes. He would go out and scout great intellects and identify them and then recruit them to come to Howard University so that we could keep generating that next group of the best of the brightest of a generation. So we want to pay tribute to him in so many ways by coming together in his memory, as well as continuing that memory, continuing that legacy with this essay contest that we've put together with the help out. Shout out to Sister Ayanna Mack, and another Howard alum. And this is not just limited to Howard alum. This is for the whole community. When people talk about Howard University, I try to be very clear. We're talking about the best of universities, full stop. So many of our historically Black Black universities like Howard have no peers. They have no peers in the commitment to human rights, no peers in the commitment to a just world for everyone. We start these universities with a legacy of liberation and upliftment. Many of these other universities, you often hear names, they start off as enslavers. They start off in oppression. We have no peers, and we never have to apologize or make any type of excuses for Howard University. We have led in every aspect of humanity that one could imagine, and we have no peers. So again, when we talk about the professors and the staff, and I think that's another thing we don't talk about enough too. When we're in these universities, there's staff people who literally have dedicated their whole life, a career of making sure our dormitories, our buildings, the faculties, the facilities in general, the landscaping, all these things are done by real people who've been committed to alma maters all over the country, not just Howard, but historically Black universities. And we got to make sure that we tell them thank you. We have to pay tribute and honor them. If we don't honor each other, who's going to honor us? This system has tried to erase us. We have to be present, and we have to be the ones to say thank you. So again, so much of what we're going to do with this Black Blockchain Summit, it starts off with the word Black. And again, we know race is a fiction. Talking about science is a fiction, but we know racism is real, and that there are groups of people globally that are facing very similar problems that we need to leverage this technology called blockchain to actually solve and elevate. And we are the ones that are going to be to use this technology, these tools, to organize and organize and organize some more, as Kwame Ture would say, so that we can leverage these technologies and leverage these brains from social science to political science to computer science to applied sciences to make this world the world that God would want us to live in, with the best and brightest of everyone. We just thank you for always giving us this opportunity to share with you with the utmost amount of gratitude. And we're grateful for this opportunity, and we're grateful for you. Thank you so much. And I know we're going to see you at the Black Blockchain Summit at Howard University, September 22nd to the 24th.
This is I Love Black People Radio on HUR Voices, Sirius XM, Channel 141. I Love Black People is more than a radio show. I Love Black People is a call from our ancestors to protect us from racial profiling all across the world. Go to iloveblackpeople.com and become a member today. Membership empowers you to live fearlessly and protect Black people globally from racism and xenophobia. Join us today and become a member of our global network with an online global green book with Black-owned and Black-friendly businesses to protect you